What is up, everybody? This is Recap Rewind. I'm JLAG and I'm here with
NBEA.
And this episode is recapping and reviewing Riverdale Season 2, Chapter 19, and it's called
Death
Proof.
Why is it called Death Proof?
It's called Death Proof because, I think there's a drag racing movie called Death Proof.
Oh, true. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we're going to start off the episode and then we're going to end off with our recap roundups at the end. So make sure you tune in and stay around for that.
And as always, to all our continuing listeners and our brand new ones, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Enjoy the podcast. Yeah, but what did you think?
No, I really liked it. It was really good.
Very entertaining.
We're not getting a new episode next week, guys. So I feel like this one kind of left us off with like a big chunk to like sit on and like
to swallow
make a lot of gifs from.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for Cheryl.
I'm getting it on that Cheryl gif. Yeah.
I was like,
I'm getting it on
this
that
girl
Cheryl
was
gif.
on point this episode.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's get into it.
Yeah, so it starts off with Jughead. We get our little voiceover back, and he's talking about masks. Everybody in Riverdale wears masks.
Yeah, like everyone's like
Not
showing
just the
them a
Black
different
Hood.
like side of who they are.
And at this point, I was just like, "Who are you talking about, though?" And
You?
exactly. Yeah, and then it cuts to Tony. She be wearing some like skimpy ass.
She's wearing FP's
sheen.
shirt. Let's be real. It's not even like Juggy's shirt. It's like FP's oversized t-shirt.
Yeah.
Because like Juggy's like smaller than
He's
like
like
Tony.
their size. Yeah.
Jughead's like extra small.
Yeah, they like shot for the same clothes.
So I'm like, oh hell no! I was so angry.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
So we find out what happens, like what had went down after. But did you think that they actually
yeah,
stuck together?
totally.
Did you really?
Yeah.
No, man. No way.
I did.
Ain't
I'm
no
like,
way.
of course, this happened now.
I really didn't think that. I was like, they're trying to set it up so she looks like she just like.
But why else are you there?
After.
But then when she explained it, I was like, true, that makes sense.
Also, on top of that, he's like sitting on his laptop, like fully clothed. I'm like, okay, like did he sleep on the couch? Like they probably didn't do shit. Anyway, so she's like, "You hungry?" And he's like, "I always hungry." And I was like, okay, whatever. And then it cuts to Betty, and she's running to the 5 seasons. She's like running, but
I was like, oh, is she like jogging?
Right.
But why is she wearing her pink cardigan?
Right. The one thing that I kind of like booked was, did he call her last night or the next morning? I felt like I
think it was in the morning, right?
Was it in the morning?
Maybe, I don't remember.
Because I was like, did she sit on this information for the entire time?
She had a nice sleep and then she woke up.
She's like, I'm going to get dressed real pretty and then go.
That initial call was the night before.
Right.
Because it all happened at night. Yeah. So she waited. She slept.
She's like,
let me get my sleep in first.
Like, Nick Sinclair might die, but I'm just going to sleep first because I'm really tired.
It's like she forgot. She's like, I'm going to go to sleep now. He's going to die. Then she woke up and was like, oh my God.
She's like, my alarm clock didn't go off. It said like, Nick might die soon. So she's running and then she gets to the hotel and the door is like ajar. Yeah. And she's like,
Did you think he was dead?
You know, the reason why I didn't think that he was dead was because I saw a promo of him like talking to Cheryl at Pop Diner. I shouldn't have looked because I probably would have been like, ooh, he did, but he's not. So he's not dead. He's not dead. He's still douchey.
He's like effed up though. His face looks effed up.
He's still coming for Veronica. Like he's like, I'm gonna like, you guys are lucky that I haven't pressed charges yet. And she's like, y'all aren't safe here. And then the parents come in and they're like, she's like, you guys have to leave.
What's going on?
Yeah. They're like,
and then
Nikki, are these your friends? No, they don't have an accent.
They're like the whitest people ever.
And then at that point in time, the sheriff comes in and he's like, we need to take you in for questioning. To
enter suspect number 2. Okay, if you guys haven't already, please go to our Instagram.
Yes.
And check out, we did a suspect list on our Instagram feed. We did, what is it? Sheriff Keller, Tallboy, and
Hal Cooper.
So make sure you go look and see why we think these guys are potentially the Black Hood.
Yeah.
But enter Sheriff Keller, and I was like, oh, perfect timing. Timing that you come in here right now.
Now that we've made kind of these conclusions, every single time I see these characters, I'm like, what have you been up to?
Especially Sheriff Keller. Like, I'll go through later on, but like, especially him, I feel like he's 90% of the time, he's so useless. Yeah. And then this one time, he like comes through early in the morning.
One full episode, he like came through all episode. He was like here. Yeah. So I was like, interesting. I don't know.
Like, why are you here, Betty? What are you doing here?
Yeah. He's like, go home. I don't understand what was happening. So she's on her way to Pop's Diner. I thought they were going to school because I thought they had school that day, but then there was like, where are their bags? And then I think she gets a message from Archie saying, like, meet me through. Or like let's go. Let's like go
come
for a walk.
Through.
So they're talking and then she gives him all the tea like, this is what he made me do, and he didn't kill him. And then Archie's essentially like, what are you going to do now? Like, everybody's kind of like in a space where you haven't told Veronica, you haven't told Jughead, like, what's going on here. So she's on her way home from the penthouse or from the 5 seasons, and she gets a phone call from the Black Hood. And the Black Hood basically says, like, she's like, you didn't kill him though. And he's like, yeah. Like, it was like basically a test.
I just wanted to see what you were gonna do.
To see what you would do.
But like, now I know that like you're still evil because like you told me you said a name to me. So like you're pretty effed up. You showed me
the real Betty naked.
Yeah,
it was beautiful.
It was
like,
weird. Yeah, it was so weird. I'm like, if this is her dad, this is weird.
If it is Hal, yeah. So I was like, okay. So then he's like, you helped me, thank you so much, whatever. And then he hangs up the phone, and then it cuts to the lodge penthouse. And Penelope, Cheryl's mom, is there.
Penelope Blossom is at the lodges, chilling and sipping tea with Hermione and Hiram. And at the same time, like, Veronica and Cheryl are like in her room and they're like listening to like what the parents are talking about.
She must have,
and basically like what's happening is they're talking about like what they're gonna do with the St. Clairs.
Yeah. But essentially Penelope thinks that Cheryl's lying. Because she's like, what did she do to provoke Nick? I was like, oh, what a waste mom right now. You suck.
So she was so
and
savage.
then mommy comes through and she's like, listen. And then she like,
this was the episode where like what I've been saying, like, I feel like Hermione is still mommy inside her soul. This was the episode where I saw it. I'm like, no, she's still there. Like, she's there.
Both of them. I was like,
yeah, for sure. Like, Penelope, but that was like the first time for Penelope. Like,
no, not like, pause on Penelope. Like, permanent pause on Penelope. I'm talking about Hiram.
She came through.
Hiram and
Hiram,
mommy,
yeah.
Came through.
I mean, Hiram, he came through like really hard though.
Hiram had 0 lines in this particular scene. I was like, why is he here? He just looks concerned the entire time. But I guess like now he's like not in jail. They're like, put him in a seat every scene. Yeah. So he sits there and he's like pissed off. And Penelope's mom essentially says like, we shouldn't have called the sheriff. I want to handle this.
Charges.
Yeah, I want to handle this
Everything
discreetly.
is secret. Like,
right.
Just like what Jughead is saying.
And she's like, yeah, nothing really happened. And then it cuts to Veronica and Cheryl in the room. They're like listening, eavesdropping. And Cheryl's like trying to brush it off. And she's like, yeah, you know what? It's okay. It's totally fine. Okay. And then Veronica's like, no, what are you talking about? Something actually happened. Something has to happen. And then she's like, you heard my mommy. Mommy said nothing happened.
The way Cheryl flips, like it sketches me out. Like, you know, she goes back and forth.
Yeah.
Like, as she's talking, Veronica's like, no, like, this is what happened to you. He even tried to do it with me the night before. She's like, oh, see? He did it to you, but you didn't say anything. So now I shouldn't say anything either.
Right.
Like, she just flipped. And I'm like, girl, what are you... Like, oh, my God.
Like, I feel like because she doesn't get the support of her mom...
Yeah, no, it's true. She doesn't like, know what to think.
She feels powerless. Yeah. As soon as her mom shuts her down, she's like, okay, I can't do anything. And then she like just gets like cold stone.
Yeah.
And then she like comes for Veronica, basically. Then it cuts to Pop's diner, and then we get the scene with Jughead and Tony. Having breakfast, and she's
I thought she made you food at your house.
Well, I guess I'm making food again. Okay. Or like maybe she's like, you're hungry? Let's go to Pop's.
I can't cook. Sorry.
She's like, I'm only 16 years old. And so she's like, thanks for letting me stay over. We find out why her uncle kicked her out or like doesn't let her in her house or something. She doesn't have a home. She doesn't have a home. You don't have a home. And he's like, what did you think of like our PG like groping session last night or something? Or that's what she said.
She says that.
And then he's like whoa, way to like knock me down a few pegs or something. And she was like, just give me the tea right now. You're not over Betty Avi. It literally happened like an episode ago.
Like, so, it was last night.
It was last night. So I'm not down to be like a next woman, like a rebound girl. Also, I'm kind of into girls, y'all.
Okay, so that's what I didn't understand. I was like, how are you saying that like you didn't get it in, but then you're like, but I don't even like guys.
I mean, maybe she's likely bisexual, but like she like macked him, and then she was like, but I don't like.
She's like, but I don't really care anyways. Like, whatever.
She was like, it was just for fun to make like drama.
To be relevant in this episode.
Do you think that the writers made her bisexual / lesbian because of the fact that like she can never touch Bughead?
Maybe.
Like the first thing I thought was like now.
But I feel like there's always there's gonna be someone who's gonna touch Bughead.
There's gonna be someone who's gonna touch Bughead, but not a main character. Like she's kind of a secondary now, like main character. So I feel like they wouldn't.
That's true.
They wouldn't have someone like if Veronica was consistently and constantly, they'd be like she'd have death threats every single day.
Yeah, I mean she was getting death threats.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Like Tony was.
I feel like they like low key like wrote it in like okay, like, no, you're
error. Like,
they're like, make her lesbian. And so yeah, and in a moment, so I didn't mention that like Archie texts Betty after the phone call with the Black Hood saying like, let's go for a walk or whatever.
Yeah. Let's link up.
And so they're walking around and she tells him everything. She's like, I'm done though.
Yeah.
Like,
she's like, I'm done playing his games. It's all like mind games.
Right.
She's like, I'm not going to be controlled by him anymore. Yeah. Like, everyone's good. He's like, what about Polly? And she's like, no, Polly's like next level safe now. She's like, even the farmers are protecting her now. He's like, oh, okay, sick. She's good. And she's like, everyone's good. Like, fine, I'm moving off my life.
And then Archie says like, you gotta tell Veronica and Bet and Jughead.
I don't know why it's taking her so long.
At this point in time, like, why hasn't
it's been one night? Like, the girl was sleeping. Yeah,
and they just got into a fight like the night before. So anyway, they're walking. I thought they were going to school. Like, I seriously thought they were going to school, but
maybe it was like Saturday.
Yeah, but don't they go? They end up going to school because everybody gets raided at Southside.
Yeah, I don't know. The timelines are so, we know this. The timelines are so weird.
So anyway, they walk toward the door, and of course through the window they see Jughead and Tony like laughing and giggling, and then they're like, "Stop!" Archie's like, "I'm protecting your face."
Meanwhile, it's probably like Tony being like, "Yeah, so I was with this girl last night," and Jughead's like, "Cool." But he's
good like, for you. It's like I never had a lesbian friend. So then, the question that I had at this point in time: did Archie tell Betty about Jughead being a Southside serpent? But I guess like that's revealed later anyway.
Yeah, I don't
like,
think he says
during the drag race. Then they get a phone call, and like they both get a phone call at the same time.
Yeah,
they're like, "Mommy, Daddy, Mama." And then it cuts to the Cooper residence, and of course Alice is like
everyone is there. I love the
together.
scene. It was the best scene
ever.
And
she's like, everybody here is guilty, and then like Alice basically goes after everybody, and she was like, my daughter is innocent, but all of you guys are so disgusting.
She's like, my child, Elizabeth, did not do any drugs that night.
Yeah. And then
Veronica was like, ugh.
Yeah. And then Hiram's like, hold up, bitch. We saw that picture. We all remember when you were a Southside serpent. Don't even. And so, yeah.
Acid Alice?
Is that what you...
Yeah.
Acid Alice.
Oh, my God. So, wait, did Hiram, like, was he in the town, too, back in the day?
Yeah, I
like
guess
he was
so.
one of them before too, I guess.
Yeah, until he got like super rich or whatever. So and then at one point in time, it's like it becomes news to Kevin that #Bughead is no more. Oh my God.
He's like, wow, she didn't even tell me. But then like after he's like mad at her, so I'm like, obviously you guys are fighting right now. Like, why would she tell you?
Yeah, exactly. Like they're just like getting shaded out or whatever. And so I forget who asked. I think it's Alice who's like, where did all these drugs come from in the first place? And then your man Reggie comes through and he has to admit it because he like was so down for
he's like, it was me.
He was like,
and his mom's like, Reginald.
You give him the most like gruff voice, like
well, I guess he doesn't really.
No,
his voice is actually kind of the opposite.
Yeah, it is. He's like, it was me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Veronica now is, instead of calling Jingle Jangle, because Jingle Jangle sounds ridiculous,
the JJ.
The JJ.
I love it.
She's like, the JJ was not supplied by us, but at the same time it was like Nikki who like did all this, so like why isn't he like here? And like, but everyone's still getting in shit. They're like, you guys shouldn't have been doing it in the first place. Dude,
is Sheriff Keller there?
Josie got in trouble.
If you want to talk about savage moms right now, hold up a minute. Savage mom, Josie's mom is savage AF.
True.
She's like, Josie, you did this too? She's like, after your father was an addict his whole life?
I was like, damn.
She's like, like her mom comes in, like she goes hard. I honestly I can't.
Well, and then that's like kind of what instigates everything. Cause
then she like freaking like turns the F up this mayor.
The mayor's like, I'm gonna turn the entire town.
Oh yeah, Southside High.
Like,
you're going down.
It.
Yeah, she's done.
And then it cuts to Southside High, and Jughead wrote the article for the red and black and gold, whatever it's called, and he's like he's trying to lay down the tea for like being in gangs and like gangs or whatever, and the teacher is like Mr. Phillips. He's like, you're in a gang though. Don't even think that I didn't realize
like,
that you're
I have eyes everywhere.
Yeah. Which was already sketchy. I should have fucking booked that.
Yeah, I didn't book it though.
I didn't either. So he's like, you're in a gang. And then he's like, but that's not the serpents. It's the ghoulies. The ghoulies are the ones. And that's my next article. Yeah. Like, it's on my computer. I saved it on my computer. You want to read it? I know he doesn't say that. But then right in that moment, So he defends himself, but like nothing really comes of that. And then he gets a text from Archie, and it's like, "Meet me outside now." And I thought that he was like angry at him because it was like all caps angry. Yeah. And so he like runs out, and then in that moment, Archie's like, "Yo, you gotta go.
Like, come through, come here." He's like grabbing him. It was really cute, actually.
Yeah.
He's like, come. He's like pulling him out, and Jughead's like, "What's happening? Like, what are you doing?" And he's like seeing like Tony like come through. He's like, "Wait," slow and then motion. Archie's like, "No,
we can't save her."
Yeah, he pulls him out.
You can't deal with this stuff in jail.
But I don't understand what they were like. How are they just arresting kids randomly?
They can't arrest kids.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like you can't.
Archie's like, "You can't help her from jail." I'm like, okay, but they're not going to jail. They have
Archie. He's such a drama queen, man.
Like he doesn't have drugs on him. He doesn't have anything on him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like if you had drugs on you, okay, I understand. But
unless they're bringing everyone in for questioning, which is like
okay, but you're not going to jail. You're going to go home after.
Archie's so extra. Yeah. He just wanted to like show up. So it shows Tony, and she's getting like banged into the wall. And they're like, "You're under arrest for breaking up Bughead."
She's like, "I'm used to that." She's like, guilty as charged.
And then it cuts to Northside, and Kevin and Veronica. Are they the new gay BFF? Like,
oh my god, I think they've always been though.
No, I like Betty and him together.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever, they can share. So they're like talking about stuff, and Betty comes in, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm sorry."
She's like, "Hey." Veronica's like, "What?" And Kevin's like, and it's her.
Yeah, Kevin's like,
and she's like, "I'm so sorry, guys. Like, honestly." And Kevin's like, "Shut up, Betty." What does he say? He's
like, "Oh, Benedict Betty."
Beatrice Betty or something. Well, I don't know.
Benedict Betty. It's like he betrayed like his like crew in back in the day in history.
Marketing story, folks.
And so then she gets.
And she's like, "Yeah." So he sat, and I was like hit. I'm like, Kevin, like, how can you say that to her? Why are you angry?
Because he didn't find out about Bughead.
But like for him to get savage on her, I was like, oh. And then Veronica's like, stop, it's not even worth it.
I think it was because they blame her for like betraying the entire situation and like telling her mom because they all got like baited out. Jangle. Yeah. So they like leave her in the hallway, literally, like dip, and then she gets another phone call, and he's like, and then it's a Black Hood, and the Black Hood's like,
she changed her ringtone, by the way.
Oh, is it different? She
finally like doesn't have that lollipop song anymore. No. It's like just a regular.
Yeah. So he basically says like, "Hey girl, you need to find me somebody." Yeah. And then he's like, "Find me this sugar man." Yeah. And she's like, "Who the hell's this sugar man?" And then he's like, "You know the person that knows him, right? At Cheryl Bombshell.
That was her dad. The dad was a supplier. He is like the man." Yeah. So now it's like full on Narcos. Yeah. In Riverdale.
And Betty makes a really good point. She's like, "Yo, I'm like a news."
I loved Betty in this episode. She was like, "How am I gonna? I'm a little high school student. I need to go to like French class after this, like this class, like this phone call. Like, why are you doing this to me? Like, go call my mom. Yeah, like she's a journalist. I'm a student."
He's like, but I see you now. I don't know, whatever. It's so weird.
But anyway, so I think in that moment also she's like, if I do this for you, are you done after this? Like, are you gonna like retire? And I think he's like, okay, I'll put my sword down if you like, can just do this. And she's like, okay, whatever. He's so annoying at this point.
He's been annoying. So then it cuts to Pop's diner, and Archie and Jughead are like talking about everything that just happened. And Jughead's pretty cheesed, obviously, because
about
like
Betty.
Not just Betty, but like also, I mean, he's probably pissed at Archie and like pissed at what just happened.
He's like, I gotta do this fight for them. Like my dad would do the same thing.
He's like, because he's like, oh yeah, it wasn't even the Southside Serpents that are doing the drugs. And then Archie's like, well, why don't you tell the mayor that? And he's like, you mean the mayor that arrested literally all my friends? Yeah. Like Archie just like thinks that everything can just like work out.
It's Archie, right?
Yeah, it's so annoying. But he's like, you should also talk to Betty though, like high key. And then that's the end of that end of that scene. And then it cuts to Betty, and Cheryl is tanning outside her front lawn.
Yeah, I was like, what? Cheryl, where are you? There's no pool. You're literally in your driveway at this point. Like, you're in your driveway. You're tanning. That's desperado.
Like, do they not have the set for a pool?
I don't know. They didn't want to show a pool. Like, they didn't want to show the backyard. They didn't pay for the backyard.
They didn't pay for the backyard, just the front yard.
Just the driveway.
And like, she's in the shade too. I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, it's so weird. So she's like laying out literally in like the nicest bathing suit ever, and then like Betty rolls
up.
Hey girl, how's it going? How you doing? And
sometimes you wonder, like, what is the purpose of this scene? Like, who said, like, let's have Cheryl sunbathing now? Like, why isn't she just, like, reading a book in her room?
Yeah, they couldn't have her in the locker room. Already. Like, they couldn't have, like, anyway.
So, I guess they want to, like, switch it up.
So she's like, what do you want? I know that you're here for a reason. And Betty basically asks her, like, point blank, she doesn't actually tell her point blank. She's like, I'm writing an article. Have you heard of the Sugar Man? And then Cheryl's like, obviously it was like a story that my mom, like, how is Betty supposed to know that, first of all? And then she was like, yeah, my mom used to tell me the story when we were kids about the Sugar Man coming to like get us if we didn't do like whatever. And then she was like, yeah, but do you know more information?
Like, what's his name?
Yeah, what's
like,
his
basically
name?
What's his name?
Is he a real person? And she's like, obviously not. I just told you he's
like,
a freaking fictional character.
He's fake.
And then she's like,
he's fake news.
And then she's like, get out my face, bitch. Bye. And then she just like dismisses her.
Walks away.
She's like,
bye, little bird.
She's like, leave. But she does call her cuz. She's like, hey, cousin.
Yeah, it was so weird.
You're still not feeling the family.
Like, that's so weird. Your sister's still pregnant with her cousin's baby. Let's not forget.
Hashtag. Okay. Then, so this is one of the scenes where it was like very sporadic, and I want to know how you felt about them. Archie and Fred moments in this episode. Did you find them a little random?
Yeah, very random. I feel like Fred at this point is kind of random.
Right.
But I mean, whatever. It's Archie and Fred. Like what are you gonna do? Because
essentially, he's just like, "How's Jughead doing?" Fred's like, "How's Jughead doing?" He's like, I'm trying to help him out. And he's like, it was the same thing with me.
He's like, I know,
FP.
like, Juggy wasn't there when you guys did the drugs.
Yeah.
He's like, but he also goes to the high school where, like, the drugs are. So, like, just make sure your friend's okay.
Yeah. And
maybe it's all setting up for the fact that Fred was taking pills and he's going to get
100%. I think that there was something with that last scene, but we'll talk about that later. So then they cut to like a random house because Jughead needs to like go talk to Tallboy, I guess, about this whole like raid that just happened. So Tallboy's talking. He's like, where are we anyway? And then he's like, we're in this person's house. And it turns out to be someone named Malachi.
Yeah. Which, by the way, he's like pretty like...
Don't talk about Malachi.
Why?
No, he's evil. He sells drugs. So I think Malachi is the leader of the Ghoulies. Is that right? Am I wrong? Right? Wrong?
Yeah. I think so. I think you're right. Yeah. So, I was confused. I was like, is he Sugar Man?
No.
I'm like, I don't get it. He's the head of the Ghoulies, I guess.
Right. So.
I was so excited.
Yeah. So apparently, like, I guess Tallboy is trying to create a deal where, like, now they're sitting at the same table. They're still like separate gangs, I guess, but like now they're trying to like put together an alliance. Is that right?
Yeah. I think Tallboy's like, we're done with this bullshit. We need the Ghoulies. They have more people.
Is that what it was?
I'm just making this up based on like every other like crime like show ever. But anyways, Tallboy's basically like he's telling Jughead like, let's do this, and Juggy's like, you're the right hand to my father. Like you should know better. He's like, that's right. I am the right hand,
and your dad
I have
ain't
control.
Here. Yeah,
this is my choice. Also, like Tallboy's like making decisions. I was like, where did you come from?
That's the part that I was kind of really annoyed about because he first comes and says, Jughead, we need your blessing.
Yeah,
and then he's like, no, this is a bad idea. And then he's like, well, you don't have a choice. Yeah. So you're fucked.
Yeah, exactly.
So he didn't really give him much of a choice. No. He basically says like, this is going to happen either way. Then it cuts to Cheryl and she's just like in her room rummaging around shit. And she finds a drawing that she has had all these years of her and like Jason
and like the Sugar Man.
And the Sugar Man's like in the corner in the picture. Like, why would you keep that picture?
Cool drawing, girl. Cool drawing. So your family's and like also didn't her house burn down? So like she kept that one thing.
She kept that one thing because it was so important to her.
Yeah.
The Sugar Man. And then it cuts to Pop's diner, and Betty bumps into the sheriff. The sheriff is like having a burger or whatever.
Here we go. The one time these kids need your help. The one time this girl is like desperate.
He's like, I'm busy.
And she's like, yo, I need your help. He's like, I'm off the clock. I'm having a burger. Like, no, you're the damn sheriff like of this town. You have not solved a single thing in 2 seasons. The least you could do is put down your freaking food and help this girl out because she's doing your job right now. Like, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're the killer. You are so the killer. Like, you are so lazy.
I think it's just lazy.
It's just, but then he's not lazy. Like, he picks and chooses the one he wants to turn the F up.
No, you're totally right. It's true.
So basically, yeah, he doesn't even help her.
So
he literally walks out of the restaurant. Like, that's how adamant he was to like leave.
So he says, "Have you heard of the sugar?" She says, "Have you heard of the sugar man?" He's like, "Yeah, but like the sugar man is the supplier." So what before like
Clifford?
You know, before it was Clifford, it was this person, it was this person. So it just keeps changing. And then he dips, so he doesn't give her any like new information. And then Veronica's like, "What are you up to? Ready to destroy someone else's life?" She's just like chilling in a booth by herself.
She's like reading a book.
And Betty apologizes to her.
Yeah.
This and then they have a B&B moment.
Because I was worried. I was honestly worried for my sisters. And I was like, are they going to make up? Like, when is this going to happen? Are they going to keep this going? Like, it hurts my soul when they're like fighting, you know? Right. And like the way they even did it was really, really cute.
Okay. So she sips the milkshake, literally sips the tea, and tells her all the information about the Black Hood and what had happened and like why she like went off on her. And she still apologizes. She's like, I shouldn't have done that stuff to you. I shouldn't have done that stuff to Jughead. And Veronica's like, honestly, totally fine. I would have called out Nikki too if it was up to me, and I wouldn't have even cared. Yeah. So you're doing what you can, and I'm gonna help you, girl.
Yeah.
I'll help you.
Like
I'll help you through this. Again. Yeah. They came back together. Only took one episode. Yeah. Like, they couldn't keep them apart.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
Good moment. I loved it. I just love the way that like it went from. Because they're not showing the explanation of like everything that's happened, right? So she's like, what happened? Mm-hmm. She's like, well, and then like it just cuts to like them like having a milkshake. So it was like, okay, cool, everything's like back to normal now.
Everything's back to normal. They're back together. The one question that I did have was, so now Betty's basically just telling everybody in public like what's happening. So like, nothing's a secret.
So she's not like sketched out now.
She's not sketching out. She's not like whispering it to him. She basically says it in the middle of Pop's Diner. So okay, cool. But then it cuts to Jughead's trailer, and he's like turning the F up because he's like basically like, Tallboy's betraying us. What's going on? We don't know what to do. And Archie's just chilling, and he's like, I don't know what to do either. I'm pretty like stuck. And then he was like, you joined to keep the peace of the Southside Serpents. And then like Jughead has a light bulb moment, and he's like, we need to talk to somebody. Then it cuts to jail.
Daddy. Jail and Daddy.
And FP, they go to FP, and they're like,
when is he getting out? It's like, I need him to get out.
Soon. You and Alice.
And okay, yeah.
So Jughead first is like, I'm sorry, I joined the gang.
He's like, Dad, you could like hit me after. Just like listen to me.
And FP looks pissed. He's like, dude, what the fuck's wrong with you?
No.
That's literally the one thing I told you not to do. And then he's like, we have to get rid of the ghoulies. And then as soon as he said ghoulies, he's like, ugh. He got so pissed, he like punched the wall. And he's like, the ghoulies are the worst. Yeah. They're like actual thugs.
They're trash.
They're trash. And he's like, but the one way to win them over.
Yeah. The one way to get them is to win at a car race. I was like, honestly, guys, really? Yeah. It was like, they're really going to have a car race with a 16-year-old kid that's going to control like where they have their like power over in the town.
It's like, so they are. Yeah. They must be super scary if that's what they're like relying
they're
on.
really scary.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I was like, that's really,
it was
kind
so
of cheesy.
Stupid. It's like, they're like, they love old cars. If you can get them to race and challenge them, then you'll win. Like, that's so stupid. So anyway, then it cuts to, is everybody on community service? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Like everyone got community service. So everyone's picking up trash.
That's what happens when you do drugs. You do community service.
Yeah, don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs.
Don't sell them either. Because Reggie is chilling with his little
I love Reggie, man. He's so cute.
So go off. He's a man.
He's like, hey. What's her face? Josie. What was he saying though? He was like chirping, and she's like, ugh. Yeah. But like she's like loving it, obviously. Yeah.
Let's not forget, we freeze frame the entire like drug scene from last episode, and we done seen him like
she was ratting him
literally he was like being carried. She was being literally carried by Reggie. So don't go there, Josie. We know what you be doing, okay? So Anyway, she's playing hard to get, and then
she's like, move your arm, and he's like, oh, you want to see me flex on you? And she's like, no.
Did that actually happen?
Yeah, like they were just like, the banter was so cute.
Did you like it? Do you think that they have chemistry?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really care about them that much to like to invest in their relationship.
I feel like they're such tertiary characters at this point. Like they don't have enough story for me to care.
I feel like he adds a little, like I was laughing, like he made me laugh. Fair. So I was like, okay, cute. That's cute. Like, love
him. So then it cuts to Veronica, and she's like, "Can I break up this moment?"
Like I think Veronica and Reggie are funnier together, though.
Yeah, real talk.
You know what I mean?
I feel like they would be a cute couple. I mean, I think that's what happens in the comic.
I think that's the idea. Yeah.
Anyway, so Veronica's like, "Can you give me your drug dealer's name?" And then Reggie's like, "Okay." So he gives her the drug dealer's name, and then it cuts to is it Malachi's house? Yeah, Malachi's house, and Jughead's there, and he's like, "Listen, I'll do a drag race with you, and then we can like see like who gets to decide like where drugs are being sold and stuff like that." And then he's like, "Interesting point." And in that moment, like Veronica and Betty, like they had like this side drug deal that was going on.
So Veronica goes to buy Jingle Jangle.
Right.
Then basically like the drug dealer like runs away. Betty like sees him running. She follows him to like Malachi's like house.
Yeah.
So now like the girls are coming in as Jughead and Archie are like talking to the Malachi and setting up this really dramatic, tense car race.
Yeah. The car race of the century. And he says something like, he's like, and then as soon as they came in, like Malachi glitches out, and he was like, "You got to make this deal sweeter, or else like I'm not in or whatever." And then he was like, "Okay, if we win the drag race, you get to like control Southside."
Yeah, he gave him like a lot.
Plus, you get the white worm, so that's the bar, right? Is that the
car?
Bar?
I think that was his car. Plus the trailer park.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it was like everything basically in the show.
So you get a lot of real estate in this moment.
Yeah, so he's like, "Okay, I'm down for this car race with a 16-year-old kid."
Yeah. So then it cuts.
Like, how is this still happening?
So then it cuts to Pop's diner, and Cheryl is just chilling.
Oh, the scene was good.
And effing Nick is still in town. First of all, if he's so fancy, why is he going to a Pop's diner?
I was gonna say the same thing. I was like, why don't you go to a McDonald's drive-thru?
That's not any better. Anyway, so yeah, she basically like comes for him. She's like, what are you still doing here? You should have been gone by now. And he's acting like a douchebag central like character.
He's like, you wanted it. You were like begging for me to do that. She's like, what?
And then she was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to charge you.
She's like, I'm putting in an arrest charge for you.
You better call up your lawyer. And
get ready. And he's like, I'm not scared of you. You like white trash person. Yeah, he called her. He's like, truck stop, like trailer, whatever, you know what I mean?
Dang,
yeah,
that's rough.
He like threw it back, and I was like, whoa.
Whoa.
Like in a perfect world, they'd have the best chemistry.
Yeah, if you didn't
like,
drug
if he didn't try to rape her, you know what I mean? Like if that didn't happen, then yeah.
No, he's volatile. So then he's like, actually, also, you can't come for me because my parents basically paid off your mom with hush money.
Yeah.
So bye. So he leaves. And then it cuts to the garage, and we get a moment with Betty and Jughead. Yeah. Finally, they get to talk. And it was funny because you booked it, that Betty does work with her dad. She does cars. She does cars. She fixes cars.
She's good at cars.
With her dad. So she's fixing Jughead's car, getting him ready for the race.
Which I guess is Reggie's car. Right? Because she's like, thanks Reggie for his like car.
Oh, is that what happens?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't.
So I don't know why she's fixing it. Like, why wouldn't it already be fixed? Like, what's wrong with it?
I guess they're like
she's like swooping it up.
Yeah.
Like, guys, why are you in class? Like, you're so.
Go to school.
Okay. So she's swooping up the car.
Yeah, and we get the moment, like the reveal that she finds out about like him being a part of the Southside, and she's like,
so I guess you never would join them. Yeah, he's like, well, you told me that you love me and you broke up with me through Archie.
Truth bomb.
I was like, oh, my soul.
Yeah, he's pissed. He's really pissed off at her, and still in this moment she couldn't tell him, and that's the part that kind of pissed me off about this whole situation. Is she was like, so she's
telling that. Yeah, I know.
She was so quick to tell Veronica, can't you tell your boyfriend that you had to break up with?
The first person you should have told is your boyfriend. You didn't have to break up with him, girl.
Guys, I know that you guys canon Jughead and Betty all the time, and so do we, but they got some communication issues that they got to work through. I don't know. Like,
it was weird. And like, she already told Veronica from time. It's like, why didn't you just Jughead? Like, why are you being such a drama queen?
She's like, I'll tell you after the race, after you like, so like
you after like, you might die and not make it out of the race.
I'll tell you that. Okay, all right, bye. And then it cuts to Cheryl, and she finds a check, and she approaches her mom.
Yeah.
And this is like a pretty savage, like sad moment too.
It honestly broke my heart. Like I almost cried.
So, she goes up to Penelope, and she's like, so I found this check. What's going on? Why did you like?
Who was
why
the
are you
check
getting paid
from?
off? It was from the St. Clair's paying off
the mom.
Yeah, and she's like, give me the check back. You're useless. She's like cutting her down. Like she's cutting Cheryl down, and she's like, after all these moments, all these things that are happening to me, she's like, you would even defend a man who's already dead and killed your son over me. Like, what is your hate for me right now? And she was like, tell me about Sugar Man. She's like, tell me about him now or you're not getting your money.
Yeah.
And then she was like, can you care about me more than anything else for this one time?
I love the way she said it too. She goes like, I'm alive. Like I'm the only one alive and I'm begging you to be honest, like for once in your life.
Yeah.
Like take in that your whole family's dead and I'm like still your daughter. Like can you just be honest with me?
Like come through for me.
It was
this one
such
time.
a real moment. It was really, so cute.
Really sad. But so in that moment, Penelope sucked hard.
Yeah, she still was just, like, meh.
Yeah, she was just acting like a total B. And then she has to basically bribe her. She was like, I'm not giving you the money until... So
tell me like who the man is.
So then that moment ends. And then it cuts to Archie and Veronica. And Veronica looks like she stayed over.
Oh, what's Fred say about that?
And so they're just like chilling. They're like, yeah, I can't wait for you to like get into this drag race or whatever. And then... Cheryl calls Veronica because in that moment I think Penelope finds out that she was like, oh, you think that like Hiram and like the lodges are cool? They also took money from the St. Clair's, so don't think that like everybody's innocent in this moment. So Cheryl tells Veronica
that like her parents took money still,
right? And then it cuts to the penthouse because all this whole time Veronica does claim that like she was kind of like attacked but like by him, but she never did anything about it. She knows that like Hiram would like effing kill him, so she never tells anybody and until this moment. So it cuts to the penthouse and the lodges are playing chess, of course.
I feel like they spend too much time together. Like I feel like Hermione needs to get out, like make friends with like the women around town. Like they spend too much time together, like in their condo together, like scheming.
They're like that couple, though.
You know, like they're like go have
they're that couple.
Yourself, girl.
Everybody else is like off, like without their partners. At least they're like a unit, like an evil unit.
Yeah,
together.
A unit that kills people.
So they're playing chess. It's classy AF. Like it's very like lodgy. And like obviously it's very like, oh yeah, we're like playing this like board right now. Anyway, whatever. It's classy. And then she comes in and she's like pissed. She's like, yo, what is wrong with you guys? You guys took money from the St. Clair's. And then she was like, just letting you know, Nick tried to do that shit to me. And then everything just like flips upside down.
He's like
honestly, Hiram's face, like
a monster came out of Mark Consuelo's. Like,
he was like, what? He was so pissed. I was like, oh my god. But then
Hermione got pissed too, and I was like, yes, mommy, you're there. I see you.
She got pissed in her own way because she had to like calm him down. She was like, we're not taking a cent from them. And then like in the background, like Hiram is like literally like fuming. You can see the steam like coming out of his head. I'm not even joking. That moment gave me chills because like both of them coming in for their daughter, I was like, I love it. I love it, but also I love seeing like lions like coming through for their kid, like for their cub.
Yeah, but it's kind of messed up how like they didn't really do it for Cheryl. Like you heard like your daughter's friend get like almost like raped and like
dude, they're gonna protect their own. Like obviously, like they told Penelope and Penelope didn't do shit, so like it's not her, it's not their fault. Like, what can they do? So anyway, I love that moment so much. It was one of the coolest moments. Then we get to our favorite part, the drag race.
The drag race
of the century. And Kevin makes a funny point. He's like, this isn't the drag race that I mentioned. Like, I thought that I would be going to.
Why?
But
which one did you think you were gonna go to?
So I thought the same thing, but then I was like, RuPaul's Drag Race. Hey. I didn't get it either. I was like, what other like Drag Race would you be going to? What do you want, Kevin?
What do you want?
But then I was like, okay,
I get it.
RuPaul's Drag Race.
Okay, got it.
And he's like, but at least the guys are hot. I'm like, go.
And they are, because Malachi's hot.
His moment is like just like random quips.
He's always been like that.
But like he's a regular now. Come on, guys, come through for him.
Even
like,
Reggie had like one line.
Yeah, his like storyline is way more entertaining. He's like, I'm a drug dealer. And then it was really cute because like everybody kind of like sees their men off. Like Veronica kisses Archie, and then it cuts to Betty and then Betty comes through for Juggy before he goes into his car. She doesn't like say like mac him out, but she does say,
she's like, I'll always love you.
I never stop loving you.
She's like, I don't know how I'll ever stop, but I do love you. And don't forget to change the clutch and put it in like park after you're done. Yeah. He's like, thanks, girl.
Yeah. He's like, you're an enigma. And then
I hate when he calls her Cooper. Because
it's like back to like regular life.
It's like Marissa Cooper from the OC. Because they used to call her Cooper all the time. I'm like, oh, like Cooper.
Coopy. Then it cuts to Cheryl, and she's the flag girl now. I love this. I am the flag girl now.
Was this a Grease reference?
No,
because when Tony was like, this is my job, I usually do this. She's like, not today, Cha-Cha. And I think Cha-Cha was like the girl's name in Greece that like did it.
Okay, got it. Okay, maybe. So
she's like, not today, Cha-Cha.
Sure. And then she like has her moment, obviously. Like it's like that cinematic like red flag.
It is her. She's like literally born to do this.
Yeah,
like
and that's what she said. She's like, I was born to do this. So she like they start the race, they're gone. And they're racing. Pretty tense moment. It didn't last long enough for me. What did you think about the race moment?
I was nervous.
Were you?
Yeah, I was like, what's gonna happen?
When they were getting to the bridge and stuff. So they get to this bridge moment where like they're not gonna be able to fit in it. And like Jughead's trying to like edge forward so he can come in first. And then
Archie's like, no, we're not doing this. Like, you're not gonna fit.
This doesn't feel right.
Like, we're gonna die.
Yeah. And then he pulls the emergency brake without telling anybody. I was like,
so pissed.
I was like, Archie, you're such a fucking loser. Get out of here. What the hell's wrong with you? And then they zoom through, the ghoulies zoom through, so and like then you hear like
Archie's like, don't worry.
He's like,
and I'm like, okay, what did he do?
You'll thank me later for this. This is for your better benefit. And then you hear the cops like sirens. And they run across the bridge, and of course, Sheriff Keller is like sitting and waiting with his people to arrest Malachi. To arrest Malachi, yeah. And everybody's like, "What the hell just happened?" Everybody's like, "Run! Like the cops are here!" And then Tallboy gets pissed. He's like, "I can't believe you called the cops on us." And then Archie's like, "It was me, okay? It was me. I called the cops." And like everybody's pissed, obviously. Like, why did you do that? Like, now they're gonna be coming for you after they come get out of jail. It's like, why would you like think that this is gonna solve? Because like Archie's like, I think I saw the problem. Like, now they're going to jail, and like now
they're gone forever.
He's like, no, you're such a fucking idiot. They're all gonna come for you now. And even Betty was like, she's like, dude,
wrong play, Archiekins. Wrong play.
And what did you think of this whole situation? Like Archie, Avi, bad decision.
I don't know. I feel like for what had to happen, I feel like it makes the most sense. Like, really? Were they really gonna go and like win a race? Like, you know,
and that was gonna be like the fate of like their entire lives.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, like, it almost felt like too weird. Like we were saying, like it sounds weird.
The question that I always have is like, the Black Hood is not bribing Archie. Why is he keeping this a secret? Why did he not tell anybody about his stupid ass plan?
Which plan?
He didn't tell anybody the fact that he was calling the sheriff.
Yeah.
Like, he told nobody. Yeah. What the hell's wrong with you?
It's true. Like, he could have told like Veronica at least.
He could have told Jughead. What if he pulled the emergency brake and they like spun out and like freaking like fell in a ditch? Like, come on, man. Yeah. Like, you're literally in a car racing to the death, and then you're like, no, wait. Like, and then I'll tell you after you get out of the car.
It's Archie. It's Archie.
Archie Andrews, can't deal. And then it cuts to Cheryl, and she's talking to her mom, and like her mom's by the fire.
I died. I literally like laughed out loud at this.
First and foremost, why is Penelope fucking Blossom wearing one leather glove?
I guess that one hand is like burnt. And that's what Cheryl's like. She's like, careful, you don't get burned again. So savage. She's like, like it's so savage. I loved it. I died.
Gosh. And so we get an emotional moment from Penelope.
Yeah,
Break
finally.
Down the tea for us.
Like,
Tell
honestly, finally. Like, second season episode what? Like, this woman finally cracks.
Right. And
so she's like, I do have you. Like, I got you, girl. Like,
does she though?
I think so.
Does she though?
I think so. She ends up throwing the check into the fire. Okay. She like rips it up and throws it, and Cheryl's like, thanks, Mom. Yeah.
Good job.
So she throws the money. I guess she says who the sugar man is. Right?
Yeah. So she's like, who's the sugar man now? And then they have like their moment, and then she was like, okay, well, that's the end of that story.
Yeah.
She does say like, Penelope does say like, oh yeah, I tried to stop this new sugar man from getting hired, and then like that's what happened, and that's how your brother, I feel like, died, because like,
and it sounds like she's had to protect her family like over the years. Like she tried as much as she could to like protect her kids from like the monster that literally was her husband. So like I'm sure she's had to do things, but along the way, like I don't know, like blurred lines, you know, like she kind of fell into it too.
I don't feel like she was earnest in that moment, really. Like I know that out of all the moms coming through for their kids, I feel like she still
there has to be a good side to every parent. The one parent cannot be solely like evil,
right?
So because she's the only parent for Cheryl, I feel like there has to be parts of her that are good. Are we gonna see that part again? Maybe not for like a while,
right?
Because I feel like that's just their dynamic. But I think like she still has good in her.
But I want to know why she hates Cheryl so much. I want to know why she truly like doesn't want to come through for her. Because like, yes, this moment was important to like understand the relationship a little bit more. But we still don't have a moment where she's like, listen, when I look at you, I'm reminded by Jason. Like, just give me that one moment, and then I could be like, okay, now I have a reason why. But I mean,
in the first season, she does say it. She's like, she's so angry at Cheryl because like she's like, you didn't even tell me like your brother like was gonna run away and shit.
That's different. Like, I feel like she's basically betraying her, but like it's different from like her being like, every single time I look at you, I remember him, and like it makes me sad or whatever. Yeah. Like she's
like, why is she so crusty?
She's so crusty to her, and it's not fair. So I feel like I want to see another like Penelope Cheryl moment where like she really breaks down the tea and apologizes to Cheryl. She needs to like fucking apologize for like being a shitty mom. Like she really. And you know
what? As much as it's like Penelope, it's also Cheryl, because I feel like Cheryl has built up these walls all her life, course, and she's a bitch back to her mom too. Right. But in this episode, she calls her mom out, and she's like, "Why can't you just like love me and like see me for what I am? You know what I mean? Like come through for me."
Yeah.
You know,
for sure.
So she calls her out in that moment, and then like Penelope like comes back too. Like, so you need that dialogue. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Then it cuts to Pop's diner, and
lots of milkshakes this episode.
Yeah, a lot of
like
milkshakes.
Pops was busy this episode.
And Betty gets a phone call from Cheryl, and Cheryl's basically like, this is the sugar man's name, and then she like hangs up.
So after all that missioning,
yeah,
Betty did not know the name of the sugar man,
right? Until
Cheryl basically called her and told her that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So I thought it was kind of cool because, and I feel like Cheryl does this a lot.
Yes,
she really does this a lot. Where she's like, she's very dismissive from the get go, and she's like, I'm not gonna help you. You totally suck.
And on the side, she's like doing her own thing.
And she's really coming through, and then she like comes back to tell you.
Yeah.
Like even with Veronica, she was like, get out of my face in the beginning of the episode, but then low-key she was like, by the way, your parents are still like getting money. So like she still is around and helping out her sisters.
She still wants to be part of it.
Yeah. I love the character that they created for her. And the one thing I booked is like she didn't write it down. So the first thing that in my mind was like, okay, so she must know exactly who it is. Like right away, she didn't have to like write down any information. And then she was like, because she's sitting with Veronica at this point, and she was like, I don't know what to do. If I tell the Black Hood, then like God have mercy on him. But if I don't tell him, then God have mercy on all of us, because like now we're all gonna be on drugs. Is that why?
I don't know. Or like we're all gonna die.
Or we're all gonna die because I didn't tell him. God, never mind. Because we're all gonna be on drugs. And then we get the phone call from the Black Hood, and she was like, I guess I don't have any more, like I'm out of time. And he's like, yeah, you are at a time. You need to tell me exactly who it is. And she was like, well, if I told you, wouldn't matter, because I already wrote a paper on it, and I had already told the sheriff.
You exposed.
So it's already too late. And he's like, I told you what would happen if you did it this way. And then she was like, I don't care, y'all. It's my game now. Like,
yeah, she was like boss ass in the scene.
I made it sound really like stupid, but yeah, she was really boss ass.
It's my game now. Yeah. I'm breathing down your neck. How does it feel? Yeah. I was like, oh my God.
It was hot. I was like, yes. Scary. Yes. It was definitely.
Like, do you feel me?
Yeah. I kind of loved it. I loved it a lot, actually. I really loved it because it was a moment like that we saw in this moment from last, like in comparison to last episode.
She's literally played like manic in the last 2 episodes. She went from like crying and being weak to like this strong ass, like boss ass bitch.
Yeah, and Dark Betty without the wig.
Yeah.
Black Betty without the wig. Yeah. And so she comes through for him, and then he hangs up the phone on her.
Yeah. He's like, I can't handle this.
He's like, oh, okay,
the pressure.
And then it cuts to Tony and Jughead, and they're like at Southside, and they're like, yes, like everything's good to go. Like I guess like the ghoulies are gone for a hot minute.
We're good now.
And then
but then he sees cops.
Yeah, and then he's like, but why are the cops here? And then she was like, haven't you heard? They caught the sugar man. And then it's like slow motion, and lo and behold, it's none other than
the freaking teacher, his teacher, Mr.
Robert
Phillips.
Freaking Phillips. And he's like, what? And then it cuts to, once again, like really quickly, a random scene of Fred and Archie, and he's in like Archie's room, and they're just chilling. He's like, talking. How's Jughead doing? And he's like, oh, he's okay, whatever.
And Fred's like popping pills, and Archie's like,
and then Archie's like eyeing him. He's like, are you okay? Like, what's going on? And he's like, no, I'm good. I'm just like,
just like taking drugs.
Just like taking drugs. And then it cuts to the lodge residents, and they get a phone call from somebody, and basically they get some news. And honestly, best.
The scene was sick.
Like Hermione like answers the phone. She's like, thank you. My parents are with their family. And then she hangs up the phone. She sits back down so calmly while they're still playing this like next level chess game. And she's like, so the St. Clair's got into a car accident. Nick is still alive, but he's gonna be injured for like months. And then Veronica's like sitting on the side, and she was like, good, Karma's a bitch.
Yeah.
And like the entire Lodge family is like savage AF. I fucking love it.
Savage AF. And then Hiram's so like, good. Checkmates. Yeah. And that was like cut scene. That was it.
It was so good. Honestly, my favorite scenes this episode were with them because they were just so cool.
For sure.
And then it cuts to the final scene that we get, and it's Jughead and Betty, and Jughead is writing his paper from like the beginning of the episode. Yeah, and he's writing his paper, but now it shows like a zoom out shot.
So he also mentions that like Betty told him.
Yeah,
he tells him everything.
Yeah, he tells her everything, and she's like chilling in that trailer with him, and they're all good to go. And
then
he finishes his paper, and then the final shot we get is of Mr. Phillips like in jail, like sleeping. He wakes up. He's like, huh? And it's the Black Hood.
Yeah.
And he points a gun at him. He's like,
through the jail cell.
How did a guy come into the anyway?
Because maybe it's Sheriff Keller.
All right, that's the end of the episode, guys. Let's get to our favorite section:
recap roundups. Best moment. My best moment was the Veronica and Betty scene together when they made up. I just felt like I was like really worried about them, and I honestly love how the way it all like happened, like the way it went down, and right away they were like back to normal. Let's do this, and like they jumped right into another mission, which is like awesome. Right. Cool. It was really cute.
Yeah. My best moment, Def has to go to the lodges.
Yeah.
It for me, I think it was that moment where like Hiram turns up, because like seeing his face get as angry as he did, I really feel that like Hiram / Marcus Willis has been playing it kind of cool this whole time, like diabolical, sure, and like pretty like thing, but seeing this like new level of him like angry Hiram, like savage angry Hiram, I was like, oh
yeah.
And then like seeing both the parents come through for Veronica, I was like, I love it. I love the entire moment. It really did give me chills. I was like, yes, I love I love protective parents. Like, it was good.
Yeah,
it was good.
WTF moment. My what the F moment, I think, was when we saw Mr. Phillips as Sugar Man.
Right.
Because I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like I was so confused. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Not like what the F. I was like, what the hell? I'm like, wait, what?
We didn't see that coming at all.
Not at all, because I feel like he had like literally 2 scenes, and like he doesn't say anything.
And they're always pushing the whole idea where he's like, no drugs, no gangs. So it's like, where did this all come from?
Exactly.
So yeah, I get it, but I guess he was playing like double, like he had a mask.
I don't know if it made sense.
Yeah.
Like it felt kind of random, no?
Yeah, I feel like they're pulling out characters. They're putting characters in. They're pulling them out to be like bad people.
Yeah.
Whatever. He's dead.
Like, it
now,
is what
so
it. Yeah, it's true. Like that was like dead and gone.
Yeah.
Done.
My WTF moment goes to the drag race. As much fun it was to watch, it was also like, why is this happening in this moment? It was so extra, in my opinion.
The drag race.
Yeah. For me, that was my WTF moment.
Yeah.
Because I was like, yes, it was entertaining to watch, sure, but I was also just
been,
how has it gone this far?
Yeah.
Guys? Like, it's
and I
so
honestly
ridiculous.
I think it was a beautiful scene. I think it would have made more sense if it was like Reggie versus like Juggy, like something that was like in the high school, like contained. Like, but like you're talking about these 16-year-old kids fighting like a gang leader.
Yeah.
Like it
that's
doesn't
why I was
feel
like
it doesn't make sense.
It's so random. And like this episode, I know we saw the promos for it and stuff, but I was like, where is this scene? I literally thought it was a dream sequence because I was like,
like how are they gonna put this in there?
Be a real drag race happening in the show. But yeah, so that was mine.
MVP. My MVP was Cheryl.
Yeah.
My MVP was Cheryl. I feel like how you were saying, like she comes through. Mm-hmm. She's like, no, you guys are like bitches, but then like at the end, like she still like comes through and like she basically solved the entire like episode for them.
It's true. My MVP is Betty, and even though she didn't solve it necessarily,
she's for sure.
I did like the fact that she's now standing up to the Black Hood. She's like now empowered, and she's told everybody the truth. So everything's like back to normal now, kind of.
Yeah.
So like everything's kind of good, and I'm glad that she did turn up for this episode for sure.
LVP.
My LVP was Sheriff Keller again, obviously.
Like just waits.
Sucks.
You just feel like he's not around.
He
doesn't do anything.
Yeah. And it sucks that he's like Kevin's dad because like he's someone's parent. Right. But like he just sucks at his job.
At this point in time, do you still think that he could be the killer?
I still think he could be the killer.
Right.
Yeah.
Would that
especially with that last scene with like the hood being in the prison and like killing.
Right. Like
the sugar man. Like how did you even get in there?
True story. I'm gonna say Kevin. Well, let's keep it in the family. Kevin Keller pretty much sucked. Like, I think that like he's other than having these little quips of the episode, he doesn't really add anything else to the show. And maybe it's bad writing, maybe it's not his fault, but like I just think that he's a very extra character at this point. Like even his like lines are not like that funny. It took me a minute to even get there.
And I don't want to say this, but I almost want to like. In the beginning of the show, when they pegged him as he's not just the gay best friend, it's almost becoming like he is the gay best friend though. Like his lines are kind of just like that.
He's like, ooh, the guys are hot.
I want to see,
It's like, you are the gay guy.
At least the guys are hot. Yeah. Like I want to hear more from you, Kevin.
I'm pretty disappointed. The one moment that they did give him was like the dumbest like plot point ever. Like him like cruising. Like, it was stupid.
Yeah.
I'm not okay with like his character at all.
The best line.
My best line, it's kind of attached to my MVP, is when Betty says that whole thing like, I'm breathing down your neck right now. Because I was like, she's finally taking the power back and she's intimidating the shit out of this murderer.
That he hangs up on her.
To the point where like he hangs up on her. So I was like, yes, it was pretty like chilling to see it happen for sure.
There was a lot that I liked this episode, but like my first one definitely goes to Veronica when she's like when what's that guy's name? Malachi.
Yeah.
He's like, who are these sluts? And she's like, I beg your misogynistic pardon. I was like, girl, your lines though. like your lines.
slap.
But then Cheryl's like killed me. Like, careful you don't burn yourself again. Like it was so savage. Like I died. It was
like
the best.
So high key, low key savage.
Yeah, she's the best.
So that's the episode, guys.
Yeah, that's it. It was really good. Predictions. Again, guys, go to our Instagram because we're gonna put all our predictions on our timeline. And
get ready for some videos, y'all.
Videos for sure.
Yeah.
But next week there's no episode. Yeah. So let's ask our fans if they still want us to do an episode. Record maybe like a predictions one, a predictions episode where we talk about who we think is the killer. Maybe
just turn up and do
possibly follow us on Instagram and our Twitter. And
absolutely,
JLAG's got the deets.
I'm not sure how you guys found this, but did you know that Recap Rewind is now on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Facebook? So make sure you stay connected and join the conversation. Like, subscribe, follow, review, and please comment with us to stay engaged with Recap Rewind. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye.